So Simone is a coordinator of research and innovation business unit at Lucense with expertise in technological projects and consulting on circular economy, environmental sustainability, nanotechnology, paper production and converting. He will deliver a presentation about paper-based packaging sustainability and recyclability. So please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mara, for the nice introduction. I think you still see my presentation. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to present today. I will put the focus on paper and on paper-based packaging. And after a short presentation of Lucense, the presentation will focus on two main topics. One is an outlook of paper-based packaging, and also an overview of the current situation outlook for future development. And then I will talk about recyclability of paper-based products and packaging. Lucense is a private research organization located in Tuscany, which focuses on industrial research, technology transfer, and innovation consultancy to companies, to enterprises. And our main focuses you see on the right side are on sustainability and circular economy, on ICT, software and infrastructure for Industry 4.0, and also we have an accredited laboratory working along the whole supply chain of the paper industry on cellulose-based materials and products. And today I would also like to stress our role on the paper making cluster we have here in Tuscany. It was mentioned already this morning. We have a huge cluster here. You can see some figure in the gray boxes, in particular concerning tissue paper and paper for cardboard. You see we have a relevant part of Italian production with a complete supply chain also involving services, manufacturer of machineries for the paper industry, besides paper mills and converters. And in this respect, Lucense manages InnoPaper, which is a technological cluster for the Tuscany paper industry, and is a network of, you see, almost 150 companies, mainly small and medium enterprises and large industry of the paper industry, and then also the main research and competence centers, so several, for instance, department of universities, including Pisa and Florence. And InnoPaper focuses on these main aspects on the right, so strategic information concerning the sector, research and development projects, networking between companies and also between companies and research centers, and then also dissemination, events and technical training to say technicians of the paper industry. So going quickly to the first topic of the presentation. So here you see an overview of the production at European level of packaging paper and boards. And this actually represents around 50% of the total production of paper in Europe, and amounts to around 45 million tons a year. And you can see that the main, let's say, packaging is represented by case materials and also carton boards, but we have also flexible packaging, and it is becoming more and more relevant at the application for food contact, so food packaging. And in this respect, it was mentioned surely by the presentation before mine by Andreas, but also this morning. Of course, for food packaging, and in particular primary packaging, barrier properties are very, very important. And unfortunately, paper doesn't have, let's say, enough barrier properties, in particular concerning oxygen and water. And thereby it's becoming more and more common to have more complex packaging combining paper with other material like plastics, aluminum. And here I show you some examples that you can see on the market right now. But besides this, let's say paper is an excellent material because it's recyclable, it's biodegradable, and it comes from renewable material, which is cellulose. And if you look at the consumer perception of packaging, here I show you a survey commissioned by the Two Sides project, which belongs to the CEPI, so the Confederation of European Paper Industry. You can see here that paper and cardboard are the preference, the ideal materials for the consumers concerning recyclability, sustainability, and also compostability. And it's also the, let's say, preferred material for online shopping and for shopping bags. And here I would like to mention that, in fact, the recycling rate currently in Europe is above 80% of paper and board packaging. So there is, let's say, a strong input from the consumers towards this kind of material. And also, economic study here show a report of material economics show that there is a very high potential to increase the market share of paper. This is because of policies which are currently being put on market by, in particular, the European Commission. And also, if you consider the trends of cost, so the trend of the cost for paper should increase less, let's say, than for other materials alternative to paper. And in particular, there is probably a large opportunity to substitute plastic packaging solutions. And here in the graph, you show also, let's say, for the different application, different kind of packaging, bottles, bags, boxes, you can see what is the potential according to this study for substitution with paper to plastics. And if you consider a ratio of 2 to 1 in terms of weight, this means something like 9 million tons additional potential market for paper and board, which is around 20% concerning current market. So it's a really huge potential, and many companies are investing to develop solutions based on paper. And if we look, in fact, at the, let's say, at the companies, at the manufacturers of packaging, there is another survey. This one was by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, and in this case, 250 businesses were surveyed, and representing 20% of the plastic packaging market. And you can see that a large number of them is working or is thinking to work to substitute different, let's say, packaging, so multi-layer poly bags with paper-based packaging. So by eliminating or reducing the plastic content, and in particular, this is about paper. So how do they want to eliminate or reduce the plastic? Let's say the first choice, so the one with the highest number of answers, is substitution to paper. So again, we have indication from the consumers, from the market, and also from economic study, saying that paper has a bright future potentially in the coming years. And of course, one of the issues with packaging is sustainability, and then we talk about recyclability in particular. Here we define recyclability. This is how it is defined by, again, by CEPI, so the Confederation of European Paper Industries. And so recyclability means that we need to find an effective way to recover cellulose fibers to produce new paper and boards. And in particular, the focus is to, let's say, use the technologies that are currently predominant in the paper mills. So what was done, starting from Italy, so now we go back to this, was to let's say, have a look from the mill perspective. So paper mills that need to recycle packaging, paper-based packaging. So what are the most relevant parameters? And I was mentioning a few years ago in Italy, we started, thanks to Aticelca, which is the technical association of paper industry, we started to develop a new test method to have, let's say, a standard method to determine recyclability of paper-based products and packaging. And Lucense participated to the commission to the technical tables, and as you can see, there was a standard method approved in 2019, and also an evaluation system, Aticelka system that I'm going to explain in a few minutes. And this test method concerns 5 different parameters that you can see here, and that we'll go through very quickly. So coarse reject, macro stickies, fiber flakes, adhesiveness, and optical inhomogeneity. Concerning coarse reject, this is done by simulating the process, the first stage, let's say, of the paper mill process. So we have a pulper, and then we dilute with water the solution, and then we have this the screening with let's say holes with a 5 millimeter diameter. And then I'm not going to all the technical parameters for this test, but anyway, we have movement of water, and after a certain time we measure the amount of material that doesn't go through these holes, which constitutes the rejects that you can also see in the picture. So these are the materials that the paper mill is not able to reintroduce to form a new paper. An additional still
4 minutes left.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Still concerning, let's say, the screening in the paper mill, there are further steps with finer screening, and so these there are 2 additional parameters considered by the test. One is macrostickies, so adhesive particles, and in this case we have a screening with smaller holes, around 1.15 millimeters. And also in this case, we can have particles, fragmented particles, due to hot melt glues, thermosealant lacquers, etc. And this material can cause problems during the sheet formation in the paper mill due to their adhesiveness. And with a similar process, we also look at the fiber flakes. So not all paper is easily separated in singular fibers. So some papers are treated with resins, and so during the pulping process, it's not possible to separate completely. So with this test, we measure the cellulose fibers that are still aggregated and that doesn't go through the grid. The last 2 parameters that I put together are evaluated by making laboratory paper sheets. And in this case, we don't look at the reject, but we look at the accepted fibers. So with the accepted fibers, we make laboratory paper sheets. And on the left, you see the test of adhesiveness. So sometimes there is some sticky material, and when you are going to produce these paper sheets, you see they don't come out complete. So they remain attached to the support. And on the right, instead, we look at the optical inhomogeneity. And also here we have a scale level. You can see 3 pictures showing different homogeneity. So this is about the test method. And then, as I was mentioning, there is an evaluation criteria with an Aticelka brand, which you can see represented here, which says recyclable with paper. And it is made of 4 different recyclability levels. So the first one, the more, let's say the best one is an A+ score, and then it goes down to A, B, and C, according to the parameters I just mentioned. So we look at the lower parameter concerning this scale, and then we can attribute a recyclability level to the product or the packaging. And this is also pushing, of course, companies to work on eco-design and to be able to improve the recyclability level of their packaging. And so it's a kind of virtuous way to improve the products. So this all started in Italy, as I was mentioning, but since last year, there is also, let's say, at European level, a work in progress to make a test method at European level. And so to harmonize the test level along the whole countries in Europe. And we are also participating to the Commission, and now there is a first version of this method, which is quite similar to the one developed in Italy, with the small differences concerning specific parameters of the test that needs to be performed. And then there is also an additional parameters, which is the yield of recyclability. So how much fibers, starting from, let's say, 100, how much fibers we really are able to recycle in a paper mill. And let's say the result evaluation will be still dependent on the singular states. And we expect to conclude the process, to have a final version of this harmonized test method at the beginning of next year, or maybe already at the end of this year. So I thank you for your attention. Here are my references. So if you want to contact me, please, or you can ask me questions now. Thank you.
Thank you, Simone, for your presentation. And this was very valuable information about the current situation and forecasts on paper-based packaging.